everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about Marvel Rivals. I am super excited to talk about this because I've been excited for this game since they've announced it. This is like perfect my type of game. I love hero-based shooters, probably my favorite genre, even though it's getting oversaturated of lately. And Marvel is my favorite comic book series, so yeah, was very excited for this since the jump, and I'm very excited that I got a key because people were having issues with that. But yeah, let's get into it right away. So let's start off. We're going to talk about a couple things, basically just get my overall thoughts of the beta and my experience with the game in general. First off, we're going to talk about game modes. Before we get started, I'm going to be comparing a lot of things to Overwatch because Overwatch is probably the most played hero-based shooter I've ever played, and it's just a lot of comparisons to Overwatch, so I'm going to just compare a lot of things to Overwatch. So with the game modes, they have two game modes. One of the game modes is called Convoy, which you basically push a cart. It's basically similar to the payload map in Overwatch, and you push it to the end of the map, and you know, if your team does it, you win. If the enemy holds you, you lose. So that is pretty cool. The maps built around it are pretty cool maps. Overall, I think that a majority of the maps are good. The only maps that I have issues with is the two Spider-Man maps. One of them is called Spider Island. It was a newer map in this version of the beta than the alpha. That one has a pretty bad spawn where you can get spawn trapped, but people also don't know that there's a second way to leave that spawn. So I hope they kind of fix that a little bit. And then the second one that I would say that I have an issue with is it's like another Spider map, but it's like in a city. And I think it's what majority of this gameplay. It's both of the gameplays are going to be in this map. So it's this map alone. And in the Iron Man clip that I show in the second half of this gameplay, you'll see that I'm pretty much just funneling in shots, and it's hard for the team to push through. So I think they need to make it a little bit easier for people to be able to intercept the point on that map. But overall, the game modes, like I said, there's Convoy where you push the payload. There's the I don't know what the game mode is called in Overwatch, but basically you get the point first, and then once you get the point, it starts the payload. They have that type of game mode. And then they have King of the Hill, which is basically called domination in their game mode, where you have to capture a hill to 100%. Whoever does it best 2 out of 3 wins. So basically, yeah, similar game modes to Overwatch. Personally, me, I don't mind it because, like I said, I'm a big Overwatch fan. I do think that they need to maybe have a game mode that separates themselves from Overwatch. So hopefully we do get to see that when the game comes out, because there's a lot of similarities to Overwatch. But overall, no, not a big problem with that. I think that these modes are a great way to get people into the game quick with the background of understanding hero-based shooters. So yeah, no really complaints to me except for the maps having terrible access points or terrible spawns. And then let's go ahead and get into the heroes. Overall, I'm gonna break them down into like each role. Overall, I do enjoy the heroes. The authenticity of the heroes are pretty dope. I love that they use the comic versions of them instead of like the MCU version of them. I'm glad that Marvel has stopped doing this whole hold where everybody has to use the MCU version of character just for marketing reasons. I'm glad that they allowed these people to like actually just use comic book characters, which is kind of cool because it means like people popular like Squirrel Girl in the comic books is probably going to be in this game, because why the heck would she not be in a game about comic books compared to like we went with Squirrel Girl and like let's say if they made a Marvel Alliance game or something like that, we wouldn't want them to put Squirrel Girl in there or something like that. So I'm excited to see who they add to the game, especially because it's based off the comic books more. They added today Thor and Jeff the Land Shark, who I think Jeff the Land Shark is probably one of the better healers in the game. He's probably one of my favorite healers in a hero-based shooter ever, and the only reason why is because his healing beam is just so cool. How it's like a water shot, and it can phase through multiple people and heal them at the same time. So like you can pretty much, like, if they're all grouped up, you can pretty much heal a good amount of people. And then secondary heals like a bubble. And then Thor is kind of a brawler, which I like. He kind of fits that role that the Hulk is missing. But yeah, let's go into the characters. Overall, I like a lot of the characters in each role. With the DPS, my favorite ones are so far, I would say Scarlet Witch. I like Punisher. I like Star-Lord's pretty good. Storm I like a a lot. Iron Man I like a lot, which you'll see in the second gameplay. That was my first game with Iron Man, and I did pretty good. So Hela's a good one as well. So those ones overall, I do enjoy. I think there's a range of characters for you to be for you to gravitate to. There are, in the sense of attack players, I feel like there's a lot of easier characters than there are harder, but the harder characters are definitely like they have a harder scale to go up to, like Black Panther and Spider-Man. But like I think when you can execute with those characters, if you know how to play them, you can be really, really effective with them. I've played with a couple Black Panther. I played with one good Black Panther, and he was actually wrecking people in the back line. And I played with a couple good Spider-Mans. So I feel like if you're really good with those characters, you can figure them out. The tank is probably where I have my biggest issues with. Until Thor, if I would have recorded this video yesterday, until Thor came out, tank was probably my least favorite role to play, just because there's only really 2 to 3 tanks to play, and that's Doctor Strange is like in my opinion, he's probably a must pick. Overall, he's just super good with his barrier. He's super good with his damage, and I love his you have to like let go of the power. At one point you'll build up enough power in your body, and you have to like hit E to release it, and it like does an AoE like damage thing. So he's really good. Venom is like a really, really good pick. Venom's a good solo tank that you can run. You can he plays kind of like Wrecking Ball, where he drops in on people and then he pops a shield, and he has more survivability and stuff like that. It's just like getting in, getting out. And then I would say Magneto is really, really strong when you have Scarlet Witch. Only when you have Scarlet Witch, because it gets this ability with the sword. And I would say that the ability with the sword ability might be one of the stronger like playing abilities you have in the game. It's really, really good. It's a good up close weapon, and then it also is really good in mid-range because it shoots beams at the person. So it's just overall really good. But I think like if Magneto doesn't have Scarlet Witch, because he doesn't get that ability, if he doesn't have Scarlet Witch, Magneto's probably like a low B, high C tier character. He's probably like an A, high, maybe low S tier character with the sword, because his barrier and all that type of stuff gets a lot better too, because you can push people with the barrier and then pull out the sword at the end. So yeah, and I'll get into the team ups a little bit. That's probably another one of my favorite things. And then so yeah, those 3, and then Thor being added today. Thor is actually pretty strong. I think he fills the role that Hulk is the brawler before Thor came out, and I think he fits the role for Hulk. And I think Thor is he's fun. He's a lot of fun. I'm glad that they mixed up the beta in the middle of it and put out some new characters. That was dope. They announced it during Comic-Con, which is another cool thing. In the hero section, in the healer section, I would say that it would be the most, in the sense of not balance, but range. I think that you can play any healer and you can get a pretty effective use out of them. Overall, I think that all of them are pretty like cool kits. They have great kits. I love that they're more attack based compared to Overwatch. Like Rocket is pretty much, if you could be a DPS Rocket and probably kill like really, really good with that, and then you can be like a DPS Luna Storm. She has a great I think it's Luna Storm. She has a great like ability where she like shoots a stronger like left click, and that freaking thing kills. Like you can be really, really like a DPS healer with these characters. And then like I said, Jeff the Landshark. Yep, Jeff the Landshark. His damage is really, really good, like super good. Probably one of the better damage healers. So it's like crazy how much damage you can do as a healer, and I kind of enjoy that a lot. It's more like Overwatch 2 in that sense, where they kind of try to make the healers a little bit more sustainable by themselves. These healers, I would say that for sure. You don't need a tank to peel back and help you out. You can pretty much take on a lot of people by yourself, which I think is really, really cool. So let me go ahead and get into the team abilities. So number one, there's team abilities in this game, and the way that they work is basically like some abilities work where like it could be something where it's just you have this person out there and it gives you this damage boost, or it gives you like this ability, like Loki and Hela. If Loki dies, Hela can get a kill while Loki's in the respawn stage, and if Hela gets a kill, Loki will respawn back. Stuff like Scarlet Witch like I said, Scarlet Witch gives Magneto a sword ability. Like, he doesn't have this ability by himself until he gets Scarlet Witch, and it's probably one of the stronger team up abilities because of how strong his sword is. And then there's an ability where Rocket can throw out like he can throw out like a sentry, not a sentry. It's like a beacon. That's what it's called. He can throw out a beacon, and it'll for the Punisher, and basically it'll let the Punisher have infinite ammo where he doesn't have to reload. So the team up abilities I really love in this game. I never thought I had to shout this out in a superhero game because it's so annoying that lately these superhero games like the Avengers game and the Suicide Squad game, I love that this game makes you feel like the character. Like, the authenticity of the character feels really good. You kind of feel overpowered. I think that's kind of like a strong part about this game, is like everyone kind of feels like their kit is very strong, and if someone wanted to master a character, they can be really, really good with that character. So I really do like the how the characters feel in the game. I really do enjoy that. They do feel authentic to their comic counterparts. So yeah, and I like that the team ups are kind of a little bit of, like the Guardians of the Galaxy have a team up together, like Groot and freaking Rocket have a team up together, but then they have like the mix, like Rocket and freaking Punisher are teaming up together. I like that they have those kind of team ups. Another thing that I'm kind of interested in the sense of, like, I don't know where it's going to go in the long run, but this kind of go into my biggest gripe about the game in general, but as of right now, I don't think you really need a team comp. I think the strongest team comp in the game is 1 tank, 3 attack players, and 2 healers. I think that's the strongest comp. I think if your tank can play smart, that's the strongest comp in the game. 2 tanks is pretty good. 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 DPS. I think that's still a good one. I think that you can get 3 supports off too, depending on who your attack players are and your tank is. Like, I really do enjoy that there's no composite, there's no like really there's no role queue that there is, that like it doesn't feel like it needs to have a role queue, but it does kind of worry me that it, because this is like my strongest, this is like my biggest issue with the game in general, is hero balancing. So let me explain what I mean by hero balancing. So don't get me wrong, everyone is kind of strong, like I said previously, but the thing is that the easy characters in the game are overpoweredly strong, or like overpower strong. Like, Scarlet Witch is probably the easiest character to play in the game. She has an amazing ult. She has an ability where she can phase away and leave the situation. She can't get healed in that state, but she still can leave any situation. She doesn't have to aim really to do damage. She just has to be in your vicinity to do damage. So she's basically like DPS more pretty much. So she has this ability. She can float in the air. Like, she has so many things to her kit to deal with that is, and it's so easy to like on her end to do them, so it's really hard to deal with. And same thing with like Star-Lord's another character. He plays similar to Tracer and has an ability like Reaper where he spins around and he shoots a bunch of bullets and it does a bunch of damage. His guns shoot so fast that it regenerates his ultimate so fast. So like those type of characters, when they're that easy, Hela is another character. Her damage output is so, like, don't get me wrong, you have to be good with her shot, but her damage output is so strong that she does so much damage compared to everybody else. A big one for me is Iron Man and Storm. The differences between the two: Iron Man does splash damage and he does more damage than Storm, who has to directly hit an enemy, which is like, I don't think that should be the way. I think if you have to directly hit an enemy, you should be rewarded with more damage than the other person who has to just shoot next to the person. And yeah, so I think that don't even start me with the tank. If they didn't have Thor today, there would be really only 2 playable tanks in that role. Penny's okay. I think you have to understand the character and be good with them. But like I said, there's 2 easier picks. Doctor Strange is like I said with the other role, there's 2 easier picks. Doctor Strange is an easy pick because he has a great barrier. He can fly. He has an ability of flying. He has great damage output. Venom has a shield that he's very self-sustainable, so he can pretty much play by himself. He doesn't need anybody else except for healers to like heal him here and there. So like those 2 healers right there dominated so much that like you wouldn't want to play Hulk because Hulk is probably the worst character in the entire game. Penny, you have to be technically good at it for it to be like that. And then, like I said, Magneto's a good pick, but without Scarlet Witch, he's like an okay pick. With Scarlet Witch, he's a really, really good pick. He's a really good off tank. Like when you run 2 tanks, if you have a Magneto, he's a great pick for that. But in the sense of your only tank, he's not that great of a pick for that. The healers are the only ones where I say the range is very small. You can master any healer, and I think you can actually do pretty good in the sense of healing a team and all that type of stuff. I think the healers are probably the strongest part of this game. They're self-sustainable, they heal great, and they have great abilities to get out of situations. I really enjoy the healers in this game. Rocket and Jeff the Landshark are probably my favorite healers, like in a hero-based shooter, just because of how much they can do with their kit. Rocket can run on walls and then freaking hover with his jetpack, and his healing is so like good how far it shoots. I just really enjoy his gun. It's super strong damage wise. Like yeah, like I really enjoy how good the healers are in this game. They're super sustainable. I think that this game needs to really focus on hero balancing, because I strongly believe this. If this game comes out like this and they just add new characters and they don't really patch much of the heroes and try to make the characters that are harder to play a little bit more like viable to use compared to the easier characters, or make the easier characters a little bit less power, like their power damage a little bit lesser because they're just so easier to use. If they don't figure out whatever they have to do with that, I promise you this game will probably have a meta within a month and a half of it coming out. And I don't think that, like, I think that it will probably just be as like goats in Overwatch, and I think it could ruin the game. So hopefully they figure that out, because that's going to be their biggest problem, is the hero balancing. Another thing that I would recommend to them, I know they're probably going to have an open beta, but if they're not, I highly recommend they have an open beta. I highly recommend they get this game out as many people as they can. The more people that play this game, the more people that understand how to patch it, the more data they'll have to know who is a good pick. All that, they need to get all the information they can before this game comes out. Because if they release this game at a pretty good like state, where it has like a month and a half of like lit life, and then it's on them to put the after game in, like whatever they add on and everything like that, then they can actually make a run for this, because this is a strong IP. I think that no matter what, people are going to try this because it's going to be free. I'm pretty positive they're going to make this free. I think the IP alone makes it strong, and the fact that it's an Overwatch clone, I still do think that helps it. Like I don't think that this helps it. I don't think that hurts it like a Concord or something like that. So yeah, I'm super excited to see where this goes. I will definitely be playing when it's out. I'm gonna keep playing the beta. I'll probably have a couple more videos of this, just gameplay videos. I just want to get my overall thoughts about it right now. But yeah, thanks for checking out my video, guys, and have a great day. Peace.